What time is it in your place now?
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock on the dot.
8 o'clock. Okay. Okay. All right. So, are we ready to meditate first?
Sure.
Okay. How are you, Dr. Beth? Good to see you, everyone.
See you too.
And welcome to the last teaching weekend of this Abhidhamma class. After that, we will have the finals and the mock exam, right? Okay, let's get started with the meditation. And I'm going to open my insight timer. Please settle on your seats. Sit comfortably. Keep your back and the head straight. Relax your shoulders. Keep one palm on the other and rest them on your lap, or you can also rest them on your knees. And slowly and gently close your eyes with compassion and mindfulness. Relax your eyebrows. Relax the upper part of the body. Relax the midsection of the body. And relax the lower section of the body. Let's take a good long deep breath and hold it for around 5-10 seconds. And then slowly release and relax. Let's do it together. Long deep breath. And then slowly release step by step. Release and relax. Now let us focus on our breathing. Let us focus on breathing process. Breathing in and breathing out. When we breathe in, the incoming air touches the nostril before it enters our body. So that is the first entry, first point of contact of our body. Let us also focus on the outgoing air touching the upper lip before leaving our body. So that is the last point of contact for our body before the breathing leaving our body. So in between these entry and exit points, we establish mindfulness just like a gatekeeper who would monitor every single breath incoming and outgoing. Let's try to focus on every single breath. Just observe, monitor, identify the nature of the breath, the length of the breath, and the breadth of the breath. When we take long deep breath or just longer breath, we recognize it, identify it, observe it. Do not control, do not judge. Just let it happen on its own natural course. When we breathe out, we observe it as a short breath and we recognize it as a short breath and we recognize, identify it as a short breath. No controlling, no judging. And when we breathe in the positive energy, the oxygen, which helps our body naturally cleanse. When we breathe out, we remove the toxic things inside, which helps us again naturally cleansing, removing our inside dirty things. This is the natural cleaning process. It happens every single moment. Ever since we are born, this natural cleansing process happens. But only when we pay attention, we do it mindfully, or we focus on that, we observe that, it becomes a wonderful energy to cleanse not only our body but also our mind. Only when it becomes a meditation, this anapanasati or contemplation on breathing in and breathing out helps us cleanse our body and mind both. There is no rush. We recognize every single breath. See how you feel it, how you sense it when you breathe in. The incoming air touching and kissing the nostril before entering the body. It's a little bit of warm, it's a little bit cool with the oxygen coming in. And the outgoing air, when it touches the upper lip, it's a little bit of warm as it carries the carbon dioxide. When we pay more attention to the breathing process, and we also can recognize that our body becomes calm, our mind becomes calm, and we are more settled into our meditation, concentration, and we are also more sensitive to our ear sense door because we close our eyes. So you might hear some noises outside, which you normally don't hear when you open your eyes. Those subtle noises can also be a part of our meditation. So we recognize them, identify them, and let it go. Do not react to them. Do not judge. And we can also recognize some thoughts that can happen to us in between. Recognize it, identify it, do not control, do not judge. Now, the most important challenge you have is to stay at the right moment, at the present moment. That is our challenge. Our mind always can jump back and forth from past experiences to the future. So it is the challenge that we have to stay at the present moment. So if you go to the past, recognize it, identify it, observe it, that your thoughts are in the past, and do not panic. Just be mindful and come back to the present moment. Present moment means you observe your incoming breath and outgoing breath. And the future, your mind can go to the future. Just recognize it, identify it, do not panic, do not worry, come back to the present moment. Now let us radiate loving kindness to ourselves and to everyone else. May I be well, and happy and healthy. May all sentient beings, including our near and dear ones, neutral ones, unfriendly ones, and all sentient beings be well and happy and healthy. May all beings be well and happy and healthy. Be well and happy and healthy. Now let us take a good long deep breath and hold it for a few seconds and then slowly release and relax. With our eyes closed, let us rub our palms and recognize, identify the movement of the palms and also the sensation when you rub, and then place them on your eyes. Take a good long deep breath and then slowly release and relax. Keep your palms close together, close to your heart, and say 3 times Sadhu, Sadhu, Sadhu. Now slowly and gently open your eyes with a more positive energy, loving kindness, compassion, and looking at the brighter side of the world. Okay, thank you. All right. Open the presentation. Can you see the screen? Okay. Okay, welcome back to our Abhidhamma and Development of Buddhist Thought, uh, Right Mindfulness Training Academy and MABA. And this has been a journey, quite a journey so far. And It has always been a pleasure to working with Dr. Beth Jacobs and this wonderful, wonderful class. I must say we have both enjoyed working with you, and it was uh, exceptionally a pleasure reading your assignments. They were all very, really wonderful. I really want to give more credit to Dr. Beth for working on that, and she really made things more uh, easier for me, and really appreciate. And also, I personally was very happy to have been able to read those wonderful uh, assignments. Um, okay, so March 6, 7, we had March 2021, April 3, 4, and this is April 17 and 18, and next will be our final weekend, May, May 1 and May 2. At our temple, there is a huge ceremony on that day. On May 1st, we'll have a whole night Parita chanting. So we will chant the entire night. And then second, we'll have a big event again. But we will manage it somehow. Uh, and then, yeah, this is our timing. And I had a Dr. Beth's photo this time. I couldn't find it before. Okay. Right. So manual of Abhidhamma, as we are going to talk. And this time we will work on also revision. There will be a revision on May 1st. Just want to remind. And and then mock exam will be uh, May 2nd. So this will be the most important thing, final destination, just prior to your final exams, and hope we can do it better. All everyone, as you have been, I'm pretty sure that as we have been working together with the journey so far, we can sense that you all will do better. Okay. So according to this various planes and processes of rebirth and rebirth consciousness, we will discuss today under chapter 5, and we will also have chapter 9, path to nibbana, to discuss later on. I would also like to invite Dr. Beth to maybe just for a break, we can join. We can ask her to help a little bit in between. And yes, so under chapter 5, we have process freed section, planes of existence, rebirth linking, and 4 types of karma, and results of karma, and processes of death and rebirth to discuss about. These are all fascinating, and also really something like extra sensory perceptions. We need to actually discuss about this, but we will try to use our own knowledge only. We don't have any other way to um, explain these things otherwise. But I'm also happy to hear from all of you in our discussion. So please feel free to um, share your views in between, or if you have any questions, if we can answer, we will be happy to do that too. Chapter 9 will have even more interesting subjects. Samatha Vipassana, calm and insight paths, meditation subjects and different temperaments, purity levels, right view, paths and different individuals, attainment and arhatship. That will be like the final goal. And what a way to finish our class. If some of us can, try at least to have a knowledge also very important. That I'm sure by the end of this course, you at least know how to meditate. You at least know where we can lead to. That way I think it's important. It's like driving in the freeway. You have a lot of signs. There are exit points. There are signs along the road, and so you have to know these signs. So in the Tipitaka, the Pali canons, you don't have everything from A to Z, how to go to the arahantship. There are only signs. So the practitioner will see when he or she practices. These signs he or she will see, recognize them. And then eventually you will know, oh, this is what I see. This is what I read in the suttas. This is what I read in the Abhidhamma. And then you will know, you will recognize. And those signs will be your guiding uh, guiding lights. That's important for us to know. It's so important to have a proper knowledge as well. And then we have four kinds of life, four planes of life, what we call bhumi, and four rebirths, four modes of rebirth, what we call patisandhi, and four kinds of action, what we call karma, and fourfold advent of death, maranupatti. And marana is death, uppatti is birth. And these are all already massive subjects, but we will try to discuss as much as we can during the course. And I will share uh, the presentation later on. So four kinds of planes or bhumi. Unhappy planes are there. They are called apaya bhumi. And then there are sensuous, blissful planes, what we call kama sugati bhumi. And then there are material planes, what we call rupa vachara bhumi. And then we have immaterial planes, what we call arupa vachara bhumi. And already all these terms have been set up in Quizlet. Okay, so all of you can have a look, and if we have time, I am not sure. If we have time, we definitely can go for a live game or something. I don't know. Hopefully we can. Let's see. If we feel like tired or like bored, maybe we will go to Quizlet. And also in between, you can also read, you can practice them. Those will be very helpful. I have already done the pronunciation as well. So what are those unhappy planes? We can see here unhappy planes, sensuous, blissful planes, and material planes, immaterial planes. And I'm more familiar with the Pali terms. So I would like to have both of them side by side. So apaya bhumi is the lower realms that we have, and so also called four kinds of unhappy planes are there. They are called naraka or niraya, woeful states, and then tirachana, animal kingdom, and Peta, like hungry ghosts, and then Asura, they're like demigods. Okay, Sura is Deva, Sura is deities, Asura is like demigods. They also have more psychic powers, like they all have different powers. Naraka, uh, Tirachana, or Peta, and the Asuras. Very interesting stories are there in Peta Vattu and Vimana Vattu. Let me share it in the chat. Peta Vattu. Peta Vattu talks about the Petas, hungry gods. Very interesting. Vimana Vattu talks about Devas. Okay. This these are two texts in Khuddaka Nikaya of Sutta Nipata. Okay. And it is said Venerable Moggallana, he would interview some of those Petas, and he would ask, what happened to you and how did you become a Peta? And they said, I was a human being once and I did some wrong thing. I did some bad thing. You know, I had a bad life. I know it is bad, but this is the result. And then he also came here and shared with the human beings. And then Venerable Moggallana also interviewed heavenly beings. How come your body becomes so radiant? It is radiant so much that we can see from hundreds of miles. And how come your body is like a flower? Your whole body is like a flower. And how come your body radiates that beautiful fragrance? That's amazingly powerful fragrance you have in your body. So they would say, this is what happened when I was a human being. I was practicing dana, I was practicing sila, I was practicing bhavana. So they would explain those things. Very interesting stories are there. So just to have a look when you feel like interested in more talking about this. And a woeful state, we have many different levels. And when you are born in such a place, it will be very unfortunate. It can be complete dark. It can be so painful. And so you will not die. You will be born again and again. But you have to undergo so much pain and there. And it is said in some cases, like they have a throat like a needle, very thin needle, like throat, but the belly is so big like a pot. So they are always hungry, So it's difficult to drink or eat something because the throat is so small, and it's very difficult. And some of them, because of their power of karma, they can see the water, but they cannot touch the water. Water becomes fire. And there are many things like that. And once Venerable Sariputta helped some hungry ghosts by giving food by his own hand. And even there is a monk, I think, where he helped by feeding by his own hand, because when that monk take the food into his hand, that becomes like fire. So that's it. That is the power of the karma. Things like that can happen to some people. And animal kingdom, as we know, they are very close to us. We humans can see the animals, you know, and a woeful like Naraka or Niraya, most of them we can see. Um, we can see, they can be everywhere, but we can see them. And their body is so subtle. And those people who actually improve Dibba Chakku, like divine eye or clairvoyance, or divine audience, or what do you call what do you call it? Divine ear. That those people can actually listen to their sound. They can see them if they want. They can switch. They can see if they want, or they can switch in between. That is about the power of the Dibba Chaku and Dibba Sota. And animal kingdom is Tirachana. So many animals are there, and then the Peta is like this hungry ghost. And host of asuras, they are little more powerful, kind of demigods, but their power is also uh, not so happy like the devas. And then these are called sensuous blissful planes, kama sugati. Kama is sensual, gati is birth, sugati means good birth. So this is sensuous planes, but they are also good births. So these are the good births. Human realm is definitely a good birth. Remember, out of all the realms, only a human being can become a Buddha or Pacheka Buddha. Not other devas or brahmas can become a Buddha or Pacheka Buddha. Samma Sambuddha or Pacheka Buddha, they cannot become. So human realm is very important. We all are so lucky that we are born as human beings, because only human beings, most of the human beings, have the opportunity to do good karma. And we can do a job, we can do business, and we can do some charity activity, we can help others, we can do so many things. But many of the devas, maybe, they just enjoy the fruit of their good karma when they were human beings. And even the brahmas, they enjoy the fruit of their meditation. But only humans have the opportunity to do more and more good karma. So it's very good that we have this. But remember, as I mentioned last time, it can be hell or heaven. We have to decide. So depending on our own actions, we can extend our samsara. So realm of four kings, we will also discuss about these deva worlds. Chatu Maharajika. Chatu is four, like Chatu Arya Satya. Chatu is four. Maha means great. Raja is king. So these are four great kings. They are the four guardian angels, kind of four guardian devas, and they are close to the human realm. And next one is realms of 33 gods. They are called Tavatinsa. These are all six Deva worlds. And these six Deva worlds um, have different capacities and also different levels. And some of them can be lower, and their lifespan also is different, very different. We will discuss about the lifespan soon. And realm of Yama gods, Yama. In some cases, it is also said like Yama is the death, um, Marana, Yama, death god. And realm of delightful gods, Tusita heaven. We have also Tusita here, right? Tusita means the one who is happy, delighted. So everyone likes to be born in this Tusita heaven because it is more delightful, joy. And realm of gods who rejoice on their own, That is called Nimmana Rati. Nimmana means to create. Rati is actually, again, Rati is kind of attachment. If you take the word, um, the superficial meaning of the word. So realm of God who rejoice on their own, and realm of gods who lord over the creation of others, Paranimita Vasavati. So they are much more powerful than the other. Uh, Para means others, Nimitta means created. And so Vasavati, and this is the kind of God who can lord over the creation of others. So these are 11. Now, do we have 11 here? You can see how did it become 11? 7, sorry, 7. This is here. Chatum Maharajika Tavatinsa Yama Tusita Nimmana Rati Paranimita Vasavati 7. And the Manusa world, human realm. So that is how it becomes 11. They are called Kama Sugati. And sensuous place, if we take, including the 4 unhappy planes and the 7 blissful planes, they all become sensuous planes. So we already discussed about this. 4 unhappy planes, Chatu Apaya, and 7 Sugati, Kama Sugati. All of them constitute sensuous planes, Kama Vachara Bhumi. They are all Kama Vachara Bhumi. And we all need food, for example. Human beings have Kabalinkara Ahara, like the food that we eat. And the other sentient beings have different kinds of food. And especially the devas, they can have very different kinds of food. And the food that we eat, I think humans, they eat more gross food or more heavy food. So the lifespan also depend on the kind of food that you eat. And most of the devas, they don't need the food like the way we eat. So their lifespan is much longer. And the karmic age, especially in the woeful state, their lifespan is very long. Animal kingdom is different because they also eat like gross heavy food. So their lifespan is shorter compared to the others. So humans and animals have shorter lifespan. But among the animals, I think there are like certain animals, they have maybe like couple of 100 years, maybe 2, 3, 400, they can survive. And human realms, it is said, uh, according to uh, according to the Dharma explanation, humans also can live longer, in fact, but it changes from time to time. And some Buddhas, when they are born, they also know that the human lifespan is shorter. Some Buddhas also would live longer time. And people, when they practice Sila, their lifespan can be longer. And overall, when the humans um, decline their Sila practice, their lifespan become shorter. That's another interesting fact. So Sila is very important. And material planes, Rupavachara. This is with regard to the jhana. So the first jhana, we have first jhana planes, uh, material planes, and realm of Brahma's retinue, Brahma Parisajja, and realm of Brahma's ministers, Brahma Purohita, and Maha Brahma realm is the realm, Maha Brahma, great Brahma. Maha means great. So this is when you when you attain the first jhana, you will be born in any of these. You will be born as Brahma Parisajya, Brahma Purohita or Mahabrahma. Okay, that's also very interesting. So many people thought like Mahabrahma is the creator of the world, right? But he's only got first jhana. And there are much more powerful Brahmas than that. Realm of minor luster, Parittabha. Abha means the light, the shining light. So they have also minor luster, not so much, but they have minor luster. But when it comes to the next level, appamana means immeasurable, infinite, abha, luster. So their realm is more powerful than this. But they all have attained the second jhana. Abhasara also is an interesting word. Abhasara means realm of radiant luster. And I just want to use this word, Aganya Sutta. Have you heard of Aganya Sutta? Aganya Sutta. Aganya Sutta talks about the evolution of world. And according to that, it is said these, these Abhasara Brahmas, they were wandering in the world, and then they suddenly saw something um, on the earth, and they were like curious about that, and they were like kind of paddy, some paddy fields, and there were no other the beans accordingly, and then they wanted to taste the paddy over there, and they did not descend, they did not land, while floating on the air, in the air, they just tasted it, and they felt very fascinating. Oh, this is very yummy, something, you know. And the minutes they thought, their jhanic power was gone. You see, jhana is, you have to also be away from all the passions and lust and all these things. So we already know vitakka, vichara, piti, sukha, ekagata, saita, patama, jhana, and then vichara, piti, sukha, all these some jhanic practices. And so they lost their power to float after eating that. It's like kind of Adam's apple, you know. So they had something like that. So this is a story about that. Abhasara. And then we have immaterial planes. Oh, sorry, material planes. Then third jhana, realm of minor aura, Paritta Subha. Um, then again, you see Paritta, Appamana, and they all have in many cases, like in the previous one also, we had Parittabha, Appamanabha, and Paritta means a little, and Appamana is a lot, like infinite. And here also Paritta Subha. Subha is good, auspicious, and here it is like the aura. And Subha Kinhaka is the steady aura, and minor aura, infinite aura, and steady aura. These are the third jhana Brahmas. And the fourth jhana Brahmas are Vehaphala and great reward. Phala is fruit. Vehaphala means great fruit. Okay, that is the great fruit they have when they attain the fourth jhana. And if someone, as a human being, when you die as a human being, you born in here, then you will be uh, born in any of these Brahma realms. And there are stories about Buddha's previous teachers, if you remember, ascetic Gautama's previous teachers. They were also born in some of the four jhana Brahma realms, and that is why they could not come back. I mean, they could not attain the Nibbana during the Buddha's time, because they were so fascinated about, joining the jhana, the Brahma realm, fourth jhana. And it is said, if you remember the story of one Brahma, uh, he was predicting about the Prince Siddhartha's future Buddhahood. Once he was smiling, he was very happy, and he smiled. He smiled because he saw his future. He would become a Buddha. And next he cried because he saw that he would not be able to live that long. So he would die before that. So that's why he was crying. And it is also said, they were he lost his jhana, but then again he regained those jhana, and then he was born in the Brahma realm. And those people who are born here like Arupa Avachara jhana, like you don't have ears, something, no body, and they won't be able to listen to the Dhamma. So there are some cases like that. Vehapala, Asanya Satta, mindless beings. You see here, Asanya Satta. And then pure abodes, Suddhavasa. Suddha is pure, and Avasa is abode. Vasati is to live. So Suddhavasa come from that. I'm sure the Mahayana concept of pure land maybe have more to do with Suddhavasa concept. And realm of, one has to maybe do more research on that. Realm of not falling, Aviha. So the Aviha world, for example, when somebody is Anagami, they would be born here in the Aviha world. They will not come back. Non-returners, right? Non-returner means they will not return. So you better not give any loans to them. They will not return. Realm of not falling. Realm of infinite space, atappa. Aviha, atappa. Infinite space. And realm of infinite consciousness. And these are Sudasa Brahma worlds. And realm of nothingness is Sudasi Brahma world. Realm of neither perception nor non-perception, that is the final Akanittaka Brahma world. So we have already learned about all these humans, and also the Naraka, Niraya, Tirachana, Peta, Asura, and then the Manusa, and then the Deva worlds, and then the Brahma worlds. And this is the final. If you remember this sutta, let me also type that. Dhamma Chakkapavatana Sutta. Okay. So when the Buddha preached this sutta, do you remember that? That is the first sutta, right? Dhamma Chakkapavatana Sutta. Dhamma is the law, Chakka is the wheel, Pavatana is the what do you call, rotating or maintaining the wheel of law. So when the Buddha preached this sutta, it is said only one human being could achieve Sotapanna. That was Kondanya. Out of the 5 disciples, Kondanya achieved Sotapanna. And there were many, many millions and millions of Devas and Brahmas. They were also listening to that. And all these Devas, after listening to this Dhamma, they were so happy, and they started saying sadhu. So they were saying sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So they were in different layers. So the devas in the lower realm, they would say sadhu. It was overheard by the others, and they would say sadhu. So they were all saying sadhu, 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 all the way up to Akanittaka Brahma realm. It is said the entire universe or whatever you call it, the cosmic energy was so powerful that time when they were all happy, because Buddha would not be born every time. So they were so happy. And some of them could become Arahant, some of them become Anagami, some of them became Sakadagami, and some of them became Sotapanna. So just many others, just they were happy only. They did not achieve anything. They were so happy. That's it. And then immaterial bhumi, arupavachara. Arupa, we know it already. Oh, I think I missed something here. Arupavachara, okay. I will change it later. So realm of infinite space. Akasa is space or sky. Akasananchayatana is realm of infinite space. And realm of infinite consciousness is Vijnananchayatana. So the people who practice meditation, like in some kasinas, tomorrow we will talk about those kasinas and meditation objects. And there you practice like here, the space. You know, we have those in the meditation objects. Some of them can look into the sky through a small hole and then have that image registered in your memory, and you focus on that. And then some of them also have the consciousness, and some of them will focus on nothingness, akinchanyayatana, nothingness, and neither perception or non-perception. These are all great samapattis, and um, more powerful brahmas are born here, arupavachara world. So those people who do not have even attachment to a body, they will be born in the arupa world. You know, when uh, you are more attached to the karma world, you will be born in the karma world. And then you don't have any, like you practice and eventually you don't have any attachment to the karma, then you will be still born in rupa world, rupavachara. And then you keep working on that, and then you don't even have any attachment to the rupa, then you will be born in the arupavachara brahma world. Yeah. And fivefold pure abodes. These are called pure abodes. Aviha, Atappa, Sudasa, Sudasi, and Akanittaka. So these are the final last five abodes that we discussed before. So realm of pure abodes. This is like the not falling, Aviha, and infinite space, infinite consciousness, nothingness, neither perception nor non-perception. And Suddhavasa Bhumi, yeah, I think this is the same thing. So, okay, this is important again. In the pure abodes of Suddhavasa, no worldlings are born. Only stream enters or once returners are born there. That's also important to know in the pure abodes. If you die as a good practitioner, but maybe if you are not Sotapanna Sakadagami, you will not be born there. Pure abodes. The Aryas are not born in mindless realms. This is also important. Aryas and Anarya. So Aryas and Anarya. Arya means those who have attained the four stages of sainthood. Either Sotapanna stream enterer, Sakadagama once returner, and Anagami non-returner, and Arahanta, the final Aryas. They are actually Maggaphala. They become 8. These 4 becomes 8. Maybe I will type it. I could not do that before. Sotapanna, Magga, and phala. And then same Sakadagami. Sotapanna is stream enterer. And Sakadagami, again, we can see now two Maggaphala, okay? That is once returner. So Sakadagami people will be born, will come back to this human realm only once. That is why Sakrut Agami or once returner they are called. Sota Apanna or the stream enterer. Once he enters the stream, he will definitely join the great ocean, that is the Nibbana. So their destination is definite, and that is why they are called Aryas or nobles. And Anagami is also have two, and that is non-returner. They will not return. If someone dies as an Anagami, that person will not return to this human realm. He or she will be born in the Brahma realm, and also they will attain the Nibbana over there. And one more thing I want to say, when you are born in the Brahma realm, your bhava or your gender will not be there. No gender. That's also interesting. And no gender for them. So itti bhava or purisa bhava will not be there for them. But when they are coming back, if someone comes back, then they will be born as man or woman, um, uh, like compared to his or her previous birth. Let's say a woman is born in the Brahma realm, and after so many eons in the Brahma realm, when they come back, she will become a woman again. Okay. And mostly the people who are like man or woman, you will be in the samsara as man or woman, unless you make some exceptional attempt to change your gender. Also paramitas. Of course, now it is also a different thing, like you physically want to change, that's a different thing. But if you want to change your gender from man to woman in the karmic realm, you have to make some exceptional. Some people really want to become woman, some people really want to become man. So it depends on that. So most of us have been men or women during our samsara. Okay, Anagami and Arahanta, they are also two, Maggaphala too. So liberated one or enlightened one. So this is how these Aryas are called, 8 Aryas. Atta Purisa Puggala. So Arya Puggalas are 8. So one is called Arya if that person is Sotapanna or Sakadagami or Anagami or Arahanta. All the others are non-Aryas. That they are not born in mindless realms, and um, they are also not born in woeful states. That is also a very wonderful thing. Like Sotapanna person will never be born in a woeful state. That's really a great achievement. Okay. And now it is the duration of life. So for humans, there is no actually a definite limit to the duration of life, and also woeful states, and humans and fallen asuras. Asuras are like fallen gods. I remember John Milton's Paradise Lost. In that, this Satan, and he's having a war with the God, Almighty God, and then he was having a huge war, and the God finally um, gave him a thunderbolt attack, and then uh, Satan and all his retinue of army, they fall to the blissful darkness. And it's like that. Somehow they also have like similar stories. I really enjoyed reading that. Um, so the fallen asuras are also like demigods, but they are powerful anyway. And okay, here four kings. Four kings is Chatu Maharajika. Their age limit of gods of the realm. Four kings is 500 celestial years. Okay, so 500 celestial years. That is according to human reckoning, 90, 90 lakh, 90. Is that what we call? How do we call this number?
It looks like 9 million.
9 million?
I
Okay,
think.
9 million. So what is a celestial year? Celestial year, I will discuss it later, but it is like one day there is 50 years here. Okay, one day there are 50 years here. So the same thing like 30 days a month and 12 months a year. So we know now what is a celestial year. So one day is 50 years. And their age limit is 500 celestial years. So we can imagine how long they can live. And this can be really, fascinating because we don't know. We only have very limited knowledge. We are like frogs in the well. We think, okay, we know everything, but there are so many things outside of our realm, and we have no idea what powerful beings, what is all this universe all about. We have no idea. Gods, and then age limit 33 gods. 33 like Tavatinsa realm, it is 4 times uh, than the previous one, 4 gods, 4 guardian thing. This Chatu Maharajika 500, so 4 times that 2000, right? So delightful gods will be even more, 4 times than this. And gods who delight in their creations, that is more 4 times. And those who lord over the creation of Paranimita Vasavati, that is 4 times more. So we can see eventually the one who lives here would live so long. Maybe they would be feel so bored also, like live forever. And when it comes to the Brahma realm, even more. So it's also interesting. Like some people say, like, I want to be eternal, and imagine you're some point, you feel bored. What will you do? You have to live forever. So some of these devas, some of these gods, or even the Brahma realm, it is even more. So when it comes to that, they also feel like they live forever. They have a misconception. Also, they have ego. In the plane of those who lord over others' creation, the age limit, according to human reckoning, 920 million 60,000 years. This is the last Deva world, 920 million 60,000 years. And this is according to the Abhidhammic explanation. And jhana resultant. First jhana resultant occurs in the first jhana plane as relinking, that is rebirth, patisandhi, and life continuum and disease consciousness. So This one also is part of the jhana, and later we will see about the other jhana resultant. The third jhana resultant in the second jhana plane, the fourth jhana resultant in the third jhana plane, and the fifth jhana resultant in the fourth jhana plane. So they will be helpful, interrelated. Um, Mindless beings, material form itself occurs as rebirth, and then during lifetime, at the moment of disease, only material form exists and perishes. So some of those, again, they are all part of the jhana realms. And I will go to here, Rupa Avachara Brahma age limit. This is about the Brahma's age. Gods of Brahma's retinue, this is Brahma Parisajya, is 1/3 of an eon. 1/3 of an eon. And Brahma ministers is half an eon. And Mahabrahma is 1 eon. So Mahabrahma lives 1 eon. Okay. And then minor luster, they live more than that, 2 eons. If you remember Mahabrahma, do you remember Mahabrahma? He has first jhana, right? All these 3 first jhana, and the next 4 or something second jhana. So minor luster 2 eons, infinite luster 4 eons, radiant luster Abhasara Devas 8 eons, and minor aura 16, infinite aura 32, and so it goes on and on like this. So 1, 2, 4, 8, and 16 and 32. So their levels always improve and increase. So what food do they eat? That's an interesting thing to learn. Like they don't eat food like the way we eat. We eat food, and we cut short our lifespan actually when we eat external food. They don't eat like that. So most of them, they are called Piti Bhakka Bhavisama. They eat Piti. Their food is happiness. That is more lifelong. I mean, your life can be longer when you are happy. You can see even in the human realms, people who are happier, they live longer. Like Queen Elizabeth, you know, she's so happy. she lives a very beautiful life, and not even uh, giving any sign of living. Even Prince Philip, right, who passed away recently, 99 years. They all have long life, I mean. But compared to this, it is nothing. Steady aura 64 eons, and great reward. Okay, this one is different now. Up to here, it is like double, and from here, it is great reward. And Vehaphala Devas, 500 eons. And durable gods, they are also actually, all these are Brahmas. So 1,000, 2,000, 4,000, 8,000, and 16,000 eons. Highest gods, 16,000 eons. Akanitaka. Um, so the 16,000 eons is the one who lived the longest time. They are actually all Brahmas. So Brahma's life is counted with eons. Interesting. And then we also have 20,000 eons, and then 40,000, and 60,000, and 84,000. This is the Akanita Arupavachar Brahma age. So when you have form, you live shorter, And when you have no form, you live even more longer. When you eat food, you live shorter. When you don't eat, you live longer. Interesting. Now, I know we all have many questions. Okay. So, woeful states, age limit per karma. Okay, they all have actually per karma. And some are short-lived, some are long-lived in the woeful states. For example, Queen Mallika, uh, Queen of King Kosala, she was the one who practiced Asadisa Mahadana, a dana that nobody has ever done. She did that dana also. But at the very end, her Chuti Chitta, the last Chitta, was something wrong. So she had to suffer for 7 days. She was born in a woeful state. And it is very interesting, like when she died, King Kosala came to the Buddha and he wanted to ask the question, where was she born? And when King Kosala came, all the time the Buddha knew this is the question that he would ask. So Buddha made him forget the question. It is said he did it purposely. Why? For 7 days he came to the temple. He wanted to ask the question, but the Buddha did not allow that. He made him forget the question. Every time he comes to the temple, oh, I forgot to ask. So I will go again tomorrow, and I will ask, and he forget again. So on the seventh day, Buddha let him ask, where was she born? And the Buddha said, she was born in the heavenly realm. And so it is said, like, for 7 days she suffered because she had something bad, at the last moment. Those reflections can happen to anyone. Like our mind, when we are dying, if we get those, we will talk about the karma afternoon. Um, I will talk about the karma. So for 7 days she had to suffer even for a short time. But because she had done so much good karma, so powerful good karma, so she could only survive there only 7 days. And Devadatta, for example, on the other hand, is destined to suffer for an eon because Devadatta heard the Buddha, and also Devadatta created schism among the Sangha. Those are what we call Garuka Kamma or Veti Kamma or Anantarya Kamma, that is unpardonable sin. So definitely after this birth, they will be born in the woeful state, and so that's the status of these people. So they are good or bad karma can be, and Devadatta also had jhana. Remember, he practiced jhana already. He improved, but he lost them because of his. Um, Later, he also, even with the people with jhana, they can come down to the woeful state. Imagine how people's mind can change. So there is no guarantee, even if you achieve jhana, no guarantee to be away from the woeful state. That is why the Buddha said it is important to be born in the Sugati, or these celestial beings, among celestial beings, because sometimes the Buddha preached the Dhamma to keep the sentient beings away from the woeful states, because that suffering is so much. And those Brahmas and the heavenly beings like Devas, even if they like at the end of their lifespan, they might be born in a human realm, but they can be still very different. I mean, they will not be born in the lower realms. After finishing their lifespan in the Deva world and Brahma world, they will not be born in the lower realms. That's also another thing. If they are born in human realms, maybe they are also not so attached to those, worldly things. That is another thing. So at times, earthbound deities live only for 7 days. So earthbound deities also can have shorter time. One time the Buddha was walking in the Vaisali or Visala, and city of Visala, and then he smiled, and he had a gentle smile. And then the Venerable Ananda asked, the Blessed One, you normally don't smile, and today you smile. What is the reason? Because they were passing the city, and then Buddha looked at the city and had a gentle, very mild smile. And then the Buddha said, you see, this city is newly being developed, and new houses are coming up. A lot of people are residing, settling in new houses, and you can see, but I can see so many devas, earthbound devas, also are settling on those houses. I can see them landing on the houses. That's why I had a, I was smiling. He said, that's another interesting thing. So if you want to invite the earthbound deities, you make sure your house is clean and clear, you know, so they will be happy to come. And maybe if you make your house like so dirty and messy, maybe not the devas, but other woeful beings will come. It can happen. So celestial years, as I mentioned, this is 50 years. Human years equal one celestial day. So 30 such days amount to 1 month, and 12 such months constitute 1 year. And that is why the Buddha preached Abhidhamma in the celestial world, because their time is more longer. So he could continue to preach the Dhamma without any distraction. Like here, if we teach like 3 months in a row, you don't know what will happen. Your brain will be exploded. Even 3 hours is so long. Right? So you can see it's also important, actually, very interesting. And sometimes I remember there was a meeting of the Buddha with 500 Arahanta monks. 500 Arahanta monks, they were all having the supernatural powers. So Buddha has 500 monks who have got supernatural power to assemble in the Himalayas, great Himalayas. Everywhere snow, all snow. And that is called Anotatta Lake. And this is like Mansarovar Lake, maybe. So they were all having an assembly. And then the Buddha asked those monks about their own samsara. Like, and then there was one venerable. He said he offered the dana or katina dana 90 years ago, and then he was never ever born in the lower realms after that, by the power of that Katina robe offering. And also he was always born in better human realms or Deva worlds, and he was always a leader. He was always, even if he was a human being, he was a good human being, and he was a leader. He was born into a good, well-off family, those things. So they were sharing their stories of how powerful they are good karma in the samsara. So it is important to do good karma in this human realm as much as we can, so that our samsara can be more comfortable. Samsara is always suffering. No matter how you think, it is going to be suffering. So to make it little less suffering, we have to do more good. That is the only way out. unless we decode this sansaric misery. We short circuit this somehow. We have to come out of this whirlpool. It is like a rip we are all uh, trapped in, can't come out. and unless we do that, we will be traversing in this samsara. It's a journey. Kappa, eon. What is a kappa? That which is thought to be of in accordance with the analogy of mustard seeds and the rocks. So um, kappa. Kappa is kappayati sasapa pabato pamamhi. So sasapa is mustard. Sasapa is mustard. Sasapa upama. Upama means the simile of sasapa. That which is thought of of in accordance with the analogy of mustard seeds and the rock. And it is said it is so long. Okay, there is a number in Pali, I remember. One asankhya is the number, the highest number. 141 zeros are there. 141 zeros are there in the number. That is called asankhya. Okay, that is called asankhya. That is so long. There are different numbers, and this is the last number I remember. When we were samana novice monks, we had to learn those numbers. So I remember the last one was asankhya, and there are 141 bindus, the zeros. That's the longest number. So then we have three kinds of kappas, eons. Antara kappa or antara kappa, the interim period, when the age limit of human beings rises from 10 to an indefinite time and then falls to 10 again, it is known as antara kappa. See, there we are still okay. And there will be a time when we have the lifespan as just 10 years. Our lifespan 10 years. When we keep um, declining from our sila practice, or overall human beings, their lifespan will be lesser and lesser and lesser. So that will become 10. And then it will improve up to indefinite time, like eon or something. And then again, it will come back to 10 again. This is known as Antara Kappa, interim period. That is one kappa. And then we have Asankhya kappa. Asankhya, I already mentioned you, 141 zeros. So incalculable. You cannot calculate that. 20 Antara kappas equal 1 Asankhya kappa. So we already know Antara kappa, like age limit from 10 to indefinite, and then again come back to 10. So falling, increasing, and then again decreasing. So, and such Antara kappa, 20 Antara kappas are equal to Asankhya. That's called asankhya, incalculable years. Three kinds of kappas are there. The other one is called Mahakappa, the great year. 4 asankhya kappas equal to 1 Mahakappa. So we know now 4 asankhya kappa. So if we take the Antara kappa, it is actually 80 Antara kappas. And then it becomes 1 Mahakappa. This exceeds the time required to exhaust an area, a yojana in length, breadth, and height, filled with mustard seeds by throwing away a seed once in every 100 years. This is the simile. This is the simile. So every 100 years, you remove only one seed. You remove only one seed every 100 years. This is already so many, so much of mustard seed. Mustard seeds is so small, and there are so much in one yojana or one area, and that um, uh, everything, how long it takes, you never know. Okay, I think with that, I want to give some time maybe. Um, we can discuss something. Do you have any questions? Before we go to Kamma.
Hi, Bante. Can you
Yes.
hear me?
Yes.
Hi, thank you so much for this teaching today. It's wonderful. I do have a question. So, and I can't remember the sources or where I've read it. It's just kind of been bumping around in my head, I guess, for a long period of time. I think maybe actually some of this information came from one of our prior classes when talking with Bhante Upananda. But I always had it in my head that, in these, heaven-like realms, there was so much peace and happiness and purity. Like there was so little suffering that it was hard to practice. So I never knew that these different types of higher beings could even attain nibbana in those states. I always thought you pretty much had to be in the human realm, but apparently that's not the case, correct? And I remember the story, and I couldn't remember the exact realm, but yeah, like the formless realm where you're like basically frozen, and that being why the Buddha's teacher cried because he would never be able to encounter the Dhamma. But I thought, like, I remember I was talking to Bhante Upananda once, and he said in one of the Brahma worlds, they were really like egocentric and like connected to the body, and they were very vain. So it's like, I think probably in that Brahma world they wouldn't. But I also never knew that there were these jhana states these jhana realms that if you attain jhana, you went there. I never knew about the form or for the non-returners. I didn't know it was actually the dimension that they got to stay in and then attain nibbana. So this is really wonderful, and I never knew all of that. So thank you for the teaching. I guess I just answered my own question from your teaching today. But yeah, I didn't know that you could attain nibbana in other realms. Didn't know that.
You know this that Kala Devala, the Brahma, like the Brahmin who already achieved that like Neva Sanya Na Sanya, he was so attached to that, he lost that jhanic state, but he could come back because he cried and he laughed. Those things are like extremes. They are like kind of defilements. You lose your status then, and then he started practicing again from the scratch. And then if he wanted, he would stay, little lower than that, and then he would become arahanta if he wanted. But somehow he was so attached to the arupa world, arupa Brahma realm, so he practiced up to that. And then it is said because of that he could not, even in the Brahma realm, otherwise he could have achieved that. Interesting. And I like the itti bhava, purisa bhava also, and again interesting part. So they don't have those things, the Brahma realms.
Bhante, I have a question that you mentioned that when the beings in woeful realms or in heaven realms, they were interviewed how they got there, and they were able to answer how they got there. But if we were interviewed, we wouldn't know how we got into this human world.
Yes. Okay, that's interesting. Like the devas, when they are born in the deva realm, they by default they also can know their past, karma. Why were they born? And same as Petas, the woeful state, they will also remember, this is the karma I did. And that was also, it's also like a karma, and they will remember it all the time. This is the bad karma I did, and I suffer. So they, by default, they know it. Yes, the mode of interview, like Venerable Moggallana, as I mentioned, those are great arahants, and with those supernatural powers, they could interview them. They could go to anywhere, and they could do that. And I probably think, maybe they did not talk like the language we have. And when somebody dies, we don't know how to communicate with them. We don't know their language. They don't know our language, right? It's very weird. But that happens to us. Let's say like my mother passed away, and I don't know how to communicate with her. I can call her, I can email her, I can talk to her. The only way is just like doing something, some charity activity and transfer merits. This is the only thing we can do. But the Venerable Moggallana was such a powerful monk, he could interview them. Maybe they interviewed just maybe with psychic powers. They could do it, and then he could come. So some of the I'm sure he has not gone to the extreme woeful states. He would have done it like with some of the lower realms where he could achieve, reach very easily, because they can see that. Because some of the woeful state, it would be difficult uh, to reach out, and also they have no free time to interview. There will be no time for them to interview. That much suffering.
But I wonder, is that only certain realms, the beings of certain realms have the ability to know? Like a human realms, we don't have the ability to know where we can, why, how we can hear. Or like animals, I wonder if
Yeah,
animals know that.
humans and Manusa and the Tirachana, they don't have that ability.
Okay.
They don't have, but Manusa, we can improve that ability. By meditating, we can get that ability back. You can go back to all the past births, like the Buddha, all the Arahantas, all the jhanic practices. We can do that, but by default we don't get it. The animals also, they don't get it, but the other Petas and Asuras and Devas and Brahmas, they can get it. It is there in them. And it is said, among the hungry gods, there is only one kind of gods, and they can actually um, uh, receive the merits. Not everyone. They are called Paradatta Upajivi. Paradatta Upajivi means they depend on others' merits. So they are little better uh, um, hungry ghosts than the other very extreme ones. So it is interesting. And so the Venerable Moggallana had somehow the ability to have conversation with them, but they can remember. They can know why they did that. And remember, like we humans also, we remember some things, right? Oh, I remember when I was young, I had something. So maybe you keep contemplating, and then some of those past experiences will come back to you. Like we are in a coma, or we have lost our consciousness somehow, and sometimes we regain our memory. We lose our memory, we regain our memory. That is just an example. But when we keep meditating, our because our mind is so overwhelmed with layers and layers and layers of defilements, so we cannot remember things. But the memory is not gone, it is there. It is only shielded or wielded, and we can see that. We can actually get it back. We humans have more power in that case.
And what are the earthbound deities?
Earthbound deities,
Yeah, what are they?
they are also like they are lower rank devas. Lower rank devas. They are also, they live longer, but not longer than those. Maybe like less than 500 celestial years, and they are closer to the this earthbound like earth, so they live among us, it is said. They're kind of maybe gods, but not demigods. They have also done good karma, so they enjoy that status. There are some celestial beings like that. Maybe they are not in a position to go to the upper realms, you know, some lower ranking devas. Of course, the devas have very, very strict high ranks, and by karma, they can go to the next level. It's not like physical boundaries they have. It is the more of a psychological boundary. So more their space is limited by the power of their karma only. For example, no matter how powerful you become the king of God, you cannot go to the Akanita Brahma realm. You cannot go to Suddhavasa Brahma realm. No way. They are like different psychological karmic space that we have. They have karmic space.
Then I wonder, what do we do as a human before we exit the world that can become earthbound deities?
Ah, earthbound deities can do any simple thing sometimes. Their lifespan is not so long, but they can do, like, even remember there is one story where the um, he's called Matta Kundali. There was a man called Matta Kundali. He was a rich man, but he was so stingy, and he didn't want to spend money on his sick son, the ailing son. He was so sick, but he didn't want to spend money. He went to the doctor, asking for medicine, just like he was going the roundabout way. How do we treat a person when somebody has this kind of symptoms? And the doctor was thinking, this guy is already very stingy, and he didn't want to spend money for, so he is asking me, pretending that he wants it for his own knowledge. So he gave a wrong medicine, maybe. And then the son's situation became more critical, and he was dying. And then the man, he thought, I should not leave him inside the house, because people will come and see my property. He didn't want other people, outsiders, to come and see his property. So he left them outside the house. And then, fortunately for him, Buddha came, and during his last dying time, and then he was facing towards the wall. The young man was lying down. He's laying down and facing towards the wall, and Buddha sent a light, an aura. And then he saw that light. Suddenly he turned and looked at the Buddha. He was so happy to see a beautiful a powerful saint standing in front of him. And with that moment, he passed away. Okay, with that happiness, he passed away. He was born as a deva, something like that. But that last karma is so important.
Mhm.
That last karma is so important. So there can be anything. There is another story. I remember one deva said why he became a deva. One time he was working in the paddy field, and there was a temple close by, and a lot of people come. There was a junction, what do you call intersection, and a lot of people were like confused about the way to the temple. So they asked, people came and asked him how to go to the temple. He would always extend his right hand and he showed the way. He never got angry. I'm working, don't disturb me or something. He didn't say that. He was very happy to show them the path. He just extended his hand and showed them the path to the temple. And that karma made him a deva. So whenever he extended his hand, he would get so many things. His wish is fulfilled. So he had a powerful arm. Though karma, the power of the karma is very interesting in that way.
Great, thank you.
Okay. Any other?
Hamdro, I had a quick question.
Yes.
So I guess, so while you were doing the presentation, this is just me thinking about it, please clarify. So the Brahmas in the form, so if you get to the form realm, you get the highest chance to interact with the Buddha because you live so long. A Buddha will appear and you'll get the chance to interact, listen to Dhamma and finish your journey. Is that the plan here?
Even in the Brahma realm, the Brahmas with like Rupavachara Brahmas have the chance.
Right. Arupa Vachara don't have any chance. Right. That's
Yeah.
one point. That part I remember. Arupa, if you go to Arupa Vachara, you're done.
Yeah. That's what happened to that guy.
Right.
Kala Devala.
Right.
He was born in the Arupa, so he doesn't have ears.
Right. He doesn't have a
can
form.
hear.
Right. He cannot hear.
Yeah.
So as you were doing the presentation, as you were climbing up the number of years these people live and such and so forth, it made me realize, okay, so they've done so much good. They just need one more thing, maybe just listening to Buddha or see the Buddha.
Yeah.
They gain that chance by going to one of the higher realm, Brahma realm. Is that the plan? It sounds like that's the plan here.
See, even if they are Brahmas, they still don't have the Sammaditi.
Right.
Some of them.
Right.
Some of them don't have the Sammaditi.
Right.
And they think, oh, this is the end. This is be all and end all.
Right.
They thought that way. And then they also see the world system appearing and disappearing, like eons and eons, 84,000 eons they live. Like they see the world coming up and down,
right.
The world system appearing, disappearing. So they think, oh, I am forever. I'm
right.
not going to die.
Right.
So
I'm
they
so
kind
happy.
of
I'm
build
going to
their
live
own
forever.
ego. I am the creator of the God.
Right.
I'm in the world. I am the creator. So they have that false notion.
Right.
That can happen to them. That's also very dangerous.
No,
Sometimes let's say like you live so long, I'm enough, I want to go back to human realm. You can do that too.
Right. My point is exactly what you were just pointing out. So they live for so long, they see the world systems start, end,
Yes.
end, but at least they get the chance. So I can't remember the exact frequency at what frequency a Buddha appears. Is it a certain number of eons? I can't remember. But either way, I feel like if you've done so much good and you are in one of the form realms, I guess, you at least get the chance to see a Buddha appearing at some point. So you get that opportunity to listen to Buddha, learn from Buddha and maybe end your suffering, end your continuation.
You see the Mahabrahma, he is only having first jhana. He's the one who inviting the Buddha traditionally.
Right.
So they have better chances.
Right.
They have better chances. And they have actually chances to meet the Buddha. And many devas also have the chance to meet the Buddha
Right.
and achieve enlightenment. But not all, unfortunately. Not all. So they are for such a long time, and let's say they finish their celestial age,
Lifespan, right? Age.
yeah, their lifespan. They come back, they descend to this earth.
Mm.
Maybe they like to live solitary life. You know,
No,
they don't
right.
want to mix with people,
Right.
but they're not used to it. For such a long time, they're not used to it. This calmer world, these sensual things, they are not used to it. They don't want to talk to people. They want to keep themselves to themselves. And there can be some traits of people
Right.
who are very special. They are also not, maybe like, they live a very simple life, like a farmer in a remote farmland, enjoying the beauty of the nature, you know, someone like that. They can be some Brahmas, you never know.
Who knows, right? Who knows
Yeah,
exactly?
of course, you never know.
Right.
Yeah,
All right. Anyway, I think I got my question answered. Thank you.
thank
Uh,
you.
uh,
Bante, I have a question because what Toshida asked, if those people, they are like a non-returner, meaning they don't return to earth to attain their arahantship, they
Yes.
will attain their arahantship in the heavenly world. So while they are in the heavenly world, how do they practice?
They
that's
don't have to practice. They
They
are already,
don't.
I mean, this is just, Anagami is not so far from Nibbana,
Mm.
Arahant. Just a simple fixation needed. They are already on the track. They have definite end to this is like, let's say, like I drive to Los Angeles downtown. I'm like so close to that, maybe few miles from the destination. you know so they already will go, definitely. It's just a matter of time, just a matter of some fixation for them. And for them it's fine. They will be born in the Suddhavas only. They will not be born in other realms. They will be born in the Suddhavasa, or pure abodes.
So where the pure abodes are is at, then all others, this is the same type of beings. They all have the same path in the, right? They already practiced it in the human world. So they all went into that same pure abode.
Yeah, they can be still different. Like we say, like minor luster, infinite luster and steady luster. You see, they also have different. Their categories are different depending on their jhanic levels. Sometimes the anagami can also have jhanics practices. Some anagamis, maybe they don't have jhanas. And anagamis also can go to nirodha samapatti. Nirodha samapatti, like as humans, you can go to nirodha samapatti. Anagami and arahanta persons can go. You don't need food for 7 days consecutively. You can practice. You don't need food for them. And even if you try to destroy that person, you can do that. But his body, his or her body will be indestructible. You can burn or shoot or something. So for 7 days, it is said, when you enter the Nirodha Samapatti, you will be in complete, absolute silence, and you will be living in that moment of bliss for 7 days.
So I wonder, what do they do to spend their time there?
What do they do? Practice,
Yeah,
like
practice. What do they do to practice?
jhana.
Just the meditation?
Yeah, that's jhana. Yeah, that's
Um,
actually going to jhana, profound jhana practice.
okay, thank you.
Okay. Dr. Bates, do you have anything to share?
I have some thoughts, but I'm also seeing a couple of chats looking for a break.
Oh, yes.
Because I think we're like so filled up with eons of information and viewpoints here. So maybe we should talk more after. This is amazing what you're teaching us. It's really amazing.
Okay. If no question, let's take a break then.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
we need to absorb.
10 minutes. Now it is 10, 7 at your time, Central Time. Okay. I shared some of the links in the, what do you call, Slack. Just wanted to share, maybe before that, do you have anything to ask, or we can start with something?
Bhante, I had a thought. I mean, these are transcendent teachings that you're bringing to us and with so much clarity. I had never really thought about how uniquely ignorant we are in the human realm. And that really assuming the animals don't know, which I'm not sure, like we're the only realm where we really don't get the whole picture unless we study Dhamma. Is that, that we're like so practicing in the dark. Other beings seem to be relaxing or doing whatever they're doing, but they are aware of where they are in this system, and we can only guess.
Pacceka Buddhas, for example, they can attain enlightenment anytime. They attain enlightenment only when the Buddhas are not there, actually. That's interesting. So maybe they are those Brahmas, returning Brahmas, they always like to be alone, secluded, cut off from the rest of the world. So they practice, and they can easily maybe attain, Pacceka, self-enlightened, and they can still practice. And but it is said like the dumb person who's when they see a dream, they cannot explain. So it is something like that with the private Buddha or individual Buddha or the Pacceka Buddha. Samma Sambuddha is someone who can very clearly, lucidly clear when he says something, and it reaches to the heart of the person who listens, and that capacity is not there with the Pacceka Buddha. There can still be good people in the world, but it is said in some eons there are no Buddhas, no Dhamma, nothing. So that is the time those Brahmas, Devas, they have already seen many Buddhas. They can somehow help communicate if needed, but they are not interested in communicating either. But some of the Devas actually can communicate, like the king of God called Sakka. It is said Sakka's seat is so big, and when something someone needs some help, his seat gets warmer. He sits on his chair, and that chair becomes warmer, and then he looks, oh, somebody needs my help, and he would go and help him. There are cases like that. And one time, the Bodhisattva, he did not have a Dhamma teacher. There is no one to teach any Dhamma. So he was going here and there. And one time it is said, I think I shared the story before, and he was jumping to his mouth. The Deva came as a monster in disguise. And then he would say, okay, I can teach you Dhamma only a little bit. When you jump from the top of the rock to me, then I will devour you eventually, but I will teach you Dhamma during that time. Do you agree? He said, okay. He was very confident. He said, okay, you know. And there are times in the world where there is no word of Dhamma. I'm talking about the Dhamma, this Four Noble Truths. It's unlabeled. You don't need to label. Anyone could really see this Dhamma if they really, really want it. And it cannot be restricted to any community or any certain religion or something. It's there. But with the Sammaditi, with the right view, with that open-heartedness, with that flexibility, with that humility, with that clear understanding of what is correct and what is incorrect, what is right and wrong, that Dhamma is there. It is the darkness, it is the ignorance that limits us from reaching out to that. And there can be situations in our life, you already know, you can see in our lifetime how many times we have gone out of the track. We have gone out of the track. How many times? We have done something wrong. How many times? Somehow, somewhere we were lucky enough to go get back. That is why it's very important to have good friends, Kalyana Mitta friends. They are the key factor for all of us. And also the listening to Dhamma, very, very important to all of us. If we listen to Dhamma, if we keep practicing, and if we also have the Kalyana Mitta in our life, they will bring us back to the right track. Otherwise, we drive without, like, we are just like rudderless ship sometimes. We go out of the freeway sometimes, take the wrong exit. It takes a while to come back. That's there.
So Bante, if we want to get help from Saki, how do we get his seat warm so he knows that we need help?
That's a good question. Like even same thing happened with the Buddha. Buddha had in his daily schedule, early morning he would wake up and he would go to deep samadhi called Maha Karuna Samapatti Samadhi, and that great compassion, when he goes that trance, he would see the people. He will see a list of people. So the most worthy one, the suitable one, qualified one will be reached. And same thing with the devas. You don't know. Sometime maybe you are in a ship in the middle of the ocean. Something happened to you. Maybe the seat of the sucker warms. And I should go and help that person. And then out of the many, one person I saw actually recently, I saw a video. One guy, he was swimming in the sea, and he's rescued by the Air Force. Like in the middle of the ocean, It's like a tiny little dot. How can someone come there and rescue you? I don't know. I felt like, oh, the sucker's chair was warm. So he came to his rescue. It's you never know. Sometime in the great Himalayas, sometime in the desert, sometime in the jungle, sometime even in a river, or anytime, things like that can happen to you, and you suddenly get the help from them. We can say when, how, and why it happens. That is why sometimes when you help, when you extend help to a homeless person, you never know. Maybe he is the god sucker in disguise. You don't know. Maybe he wants to check you out. He wants to test you, So we have to be very careful not to judge on their outward appearance. Yeah. Okay, so maybe I would like to uh, start with this. And did you have a look at this? Can you see this video? I don't want to show the whole thing. See, I'll go up a bit. You guys seen this? You guys seen this? There's wires. I didn't see anything. Like Matthew Ricard. Matthew Ricard is the happiest man on earth. And this monk can levitate. Interesting. Like how you do that. Your body is so heavy, you can levitate by the power of the mind. So it's like converting your body, the physical form, into an energy. So become light. It becomes light. And later on, when we talk about the meditation, we will discuss about certain temperaments of people and certain meditation objects, which can help you achieve jhanas or different samadhis. We can discuss about that. And this monk is also just doing it. And there can be um, more monks who can do like that, just like that. And they can actually practice. In Dhammapada, there is a stanza. It is said, the Arahanta is like a bird. Arahanta is like a bird. The bird has only wings, and he builds a nest. And when he hatches the eggs, the small birds coming up, and then he will leave everything. The bird will leave everything, the nest, and even the kids. He will again fly never look back, and he has only the weight of the wings, nothing else. So when you want to travel, you travel light. When you travel light, you can travel faster and longer. When you have more luggage, it's difficult. It takes more time, and it's painful when you have more luggage. Yeah, more like attachment. Your children, your loved ones, and many things. Your attachments to maybe some properties. It will be very difficult. I remember there was during tsunami in Sri Lanka. I know there was a famous person, and that person he bought a new car, okay, and he had a driver too. So they were driving towards downtown and down south in Sri Lanka, and then some tsunami hit. First wave came, and the water came, and the car was okay, like still, they were able to drive. And the driver said, we should run away. We should run away. And his boss said, no, we should wait. It should be okay. The water will recede. We will be fine. And the driver ran away. And that one, he did not want to leave the car, newly bought car. And what happened, the second wave came, his body was never found, never recovered. We don't know. And we had such great respect for that person. We never had the opportunity to see him again. See, things like that can happen with the attachment. Can let it go. Can let it go. Those things can happen to many people. And here there's another video, a Buddhist monk standing, smiling, and 2 months after his death. And I know normally the body decays, right? But this monk's body does not decay. It's also very interesting.
Smiling reveals who we are and perhaps our intentions as well. Some smiles reflect innocence and others reflect envy or irony. Thus, talking of smiling has to remind us to refer to Buddhism. In other words, the smile of the Buddha. What does it reflect other than love, hope, and freedom of expression based on one's broad true knowledge of things? Furthermore, it reflects compassion, happiness, and wisdom. Be sure to subscribe to Did You Know and hit the bell, life, and acquisition of knowledge simply. Our video star today is Buddhist life before converting to Buddhism, helping his peasant parents, and later on, he spent 2 years in Lopburi's national service as a soldier. He then got married and had 7 children in addition to 2 grandchildren. But at the age of 49, he had the urge to turn back to Buddhism and devote himself completely to it. What is more, he became a follower of a master of Wat Krane Kathin. Fast enough, he'd be following Buddhist rituals to honor him after death.
Over here.
What is more, his followers and devotees were surprised to find out that his body remained as it had always been before his death. Not only that, but also his smile was as perfect as it had always been, and it brightened his followers' lives. This smile on his face after his death was an evidence of his tukdam. A tukdam is a spiritual phase that a monk reaches. It is a state of meditation and nirvana. In other words, the monk has finally been rewarded with a peaceful state for his struggles during his life period. Finally, his death opens the gate for him to enter to serenity and end the disturbing cycle of life and fate. Even after the monk's death, his students still remember his greatness and they practice his teachings that will forever make him alive in their eyes and hearts.
Okay. just wanted to share how this body does not decompose. Something very interesting. And there is another video here, like oldest man, um, like many people who have lived longer, and also like longer than normal average people. I had like 121 something. Somebody lived that long, and their lifestyle, how they were, mostly they were very compassionate people, and some of them not necessarily even vegetarian. But most of them were like vegetarian, maybe. And also the definitely the karma will affect, and the food habits will affect, and also your mind, your body and the mind will also be instrumental, mutually helpful to each other when it comes to long life. And it is said in the first precept, uh, not to kill, right? So when you kill, you cut somebody's life short. So when you hurt others, you really hurt somebody's heart. So that way you cut short your own life, and you cut short also you breaks your own inner peace. So those people who do something like that, their life will be shorter. uh, their life can be taken away abruptly, just like that. That's another story I want to uh, share with you. Uh, Dr. Beth, if there is any question so that I can, I mean, I can pay attention to in the chat, please let me know, okay? Because I see some chats.
Well,
So we were talking about longevity. You know, in mainland China, I think they have these practitioners called Taoist, and they found the gunpowder. Also, they say it was helpful for their longevity. And Taoist practitioners also practice in the nature. They are so close to the nature, and those people who are close to the nature could live longer too. I always like William Wordsworth, a romantic poet. you know, I like his poem, I wandered lonely as a cloud. If you have read, I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high over vales and hills, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils, beneath the lake, beside the lake, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. And then he said, 10,000 saw I at a glance, tossing their heads in sprightly dance. And then he was compared to the Milky Way. And I like, in one point he said, bliss of solitude. That bliss of solitude is really important. When the flowers are dancing, when the river waves are dancing, they are all dancing for you. And the nature, even the gentle breeze is singing for you. So you have everything, entertainment right in front of you, but we don't pay attention to that. We rather pay attention to maybe like artificial, synthetic ones, like fabricated ones. In the nature, we have better entertainment channels. If you go to the lake, the waves are dancing for you, and the wind is singing for you. So Wordsworth says those beautiful memories when he comes back and laying down on his couch, and he can feel in when he is in relaxing mode, he can sense that, he can remember that in his bliss of solitude. When he is alone, he can remember those beautiful waves and beautiful daffodils and beautiful nature he was always enjoying it. So he lived, I think he was born in 1770 and he died in 1850. He lived 80 years. And amazing when someone who is more closer to the nature can make a big difference, live a kind of organic life. Not only organic food, but organic lifestyle also is important. So what do you think are the causes for longevity? Can someone break the silence?
I was thinking about longevity because it doesn't matter how long you live, you still will die. So it becomes an issue. What is the purpose to live this long, though?
Okay, good question. Yeah, you mean you don't have to live longer, right?
I don't know. But because everyone spending their time and energy, all the resources say, I want to live longer, I want to live longer. But eventually you still have to exit this world. So while you live, what is the purpose of doing to expand your life if you don't really have a goal?
I wanted to interject with an opinion.
Yes.
Yeah, I think about this lifetime, and of course, from all the conversations we've just been having, and thinking of the potential to not encounter Dhamma, and to know that in this lifetime, I've encountered good Dhamma friends. I have a safe home that I live in. I've had a good enough balance of suffering and pleasure that, there's not so much suffering that I can't practice, and not so much pleasure that I have no desire to want to practice, or to want to try to recognize the Four Noble Truths in my daily life, for example. So if I think of all of the good fortune and good karma that's ripening in this lifetime, for me to be able to practice Dhamma in a true and honest way and try to make as much headway as possible, I, in this lifetime, also want to ensure that I have, a good, clean body that can last as long as it can, so I can practice the Dhamma in this lifetime while it's here, and I know it's here, and I know I can practice, because who knows where I'll be after this. So you could think, at least just for me, wanting to live as long as possible, to practice as earnestly as possible, to make as much tread on the path that you can, because we don't know where we're going to end up. Our last thought moment, there could be a ripening of karma that leads us to a woeful realm potentially, or maybe we end up in a higher realm, but we're there for an aeon and we start to become full of ourselves and we don't want to practice as much. There's just so many chances that to know right now that all of these things have aligned perfectly just makes me want to say I want to live as long as I can, so I can practice as fully as I can.
I'm really impressed, both Lisa's and Kyle's attitude towards life. And a lot of people actually try to live longer. Some people, even losing your hand, maybe you want to live longer. Maybe I don't want I want to live longer. We try to live longer and longer, and sometimes you keep living longer, even with the help of um, what do you call um, emergency, those machines in the hospital, right? And some people don't want to, like their relatives don't want to remove the machine, so that they are their relative is like a vegetable already. But there can be people like that. Here, the most important thing is you, when you are younger, when you are healthy, when you are more comfortable, I think if you can die like that, it is much more convenient to you. Sometimes people die younger. Sometimes people can live longer too, but maybe too longer also can depend on. Like some people, like when they live longer, their life can be beneficial to others. They enjoy their life. You don't know. They may be enjoying their life, but maybe the sheer attachment can make you so much into this world. But the samsara is so long. We will be born again and again and again. So you don't have to stick to here. Maybe some people worry they have to study their everything from the beginning. So they don't want to die. You have to go to the university, you have to learn so many things that you have learned after so much struggle, and you don't want to do any exam anymore. um, yeah, I remember last time I said one venerable in Sri Lanka, he started learning computer at the age of 90. And he said, this is for my next birth. Make it a habit. When those, we will talk about that afternoon. They are called asana karma or achina karma. Like they are habitual karmas. So those things can also help. Yes, important thing is not to be attached. When there is time, you have to leave. That's right. So longevity is one thing, but living longer and healthily is the most important thing, right? Arogya paramalabha, health is wealth. Paramalabha, the greatest profit is the health. And if you are like, maybe you have so much money, you are very well educated, you are very well respected by the people, but imagine you always walk with a bundle of medicine with you all the time. You carry a huge um, bag of medicine all the time. You are like a walking pharmacy. then then what is the point? In a way, sometimes you have to live with it, but it's very good if we can practice. I personally think if we try, we can reduce at least, reduce those medicines, vitamins, and all those things that you take externally. Rather, you focus on your inner peace and happiness. Maintain the balance. Maybe have a good discipline of your food habits and your exercise, physical exercise, maybe yoga, also walking, and also like living closer to the Dhamma and having wonderful good friends. That will always help. Plus practice meditation. I think these are some of the key factors for someone to live longer. Um, we as Buddhist monks always listen to people's suffering. We are like also doctors, always see the suffering side. And yesterday, somebody came to our temple. She wanted to do a prayer for her little baby, her daughter's little baby, I think. Just 4 hours after birth, he was sick. The baby was given to the mother, and he was taken back and put him in the machine. Uh, can you imagine the life people can, the suffering that this mother and the grandmother and all the near and dear ones, loved ones, it's amazing. So things like that can happen. And recently there was another case, a young doctor. Uh, she was a mother of 3-year-old daughter. and met with an accident, died on the spot. And I was with the family many times just to, talk to them. And it's amazing that the 3-year-old daughter does not have any idea why these people are gathering, why they are doing this ritual and that ritual. We went to the Ross Hills. We did the memorial there, and I also went to the church because her husband is Christian Catholic, and so I was asked to come to join the mass, and it was very wonderful. And she was a Buddhist, so we also prayed for her in the Buddhist way. And in the Rose Hills also we did the same way. And the little daughter was running here and there without any idea, why these people are doing all this. It's really amazing. Life sometimes can be snatched away from you when you are very young, or when you are like small kid, and maybe when you are like young. Some people say, so, oh, why did it happen to all the good people? Why all the bad things happen to all the good people? Things can happen, you never know. And sometimes people think Devadatta did not have even a sneezing problem. He was very healthy as long as he lived. But remember what happened after his birth, after his death. He suffered immensely. 1 eon he had to suffer. It is excruciating pain in the abysmal darkness. You can never imagine the kind of suffering that they can undergo. Okay, so maybe I would like to share with you should we go to Quizlet?
Could I have one more question?
Yes.
I was wondering for that monk who was able to still stand and smile after 2 months after his death, how do you explain that?
Yeah, I think it's difficult to explain, but there are some bodies, maybe actually, like as I said, Nirodha Samapatti, people who practice Nirodha Samapatti, their body cannot be harmed or hurt. Things like that can happen. But this one looks like an exceptional case. Maybe they say he was practicing. You never know. It's certain things are there. We don't know how it happened, um, because the body, if you leave the body, it's the body, and it is just the form. And it is said, Ayu usmacha vinyanang yada kayang jahantimang apaviddo tada seti nirathang kalingarang. Lifespan, and then the warmth, and then one more thing, vinyana, the consciousness. These three things should be there with the body to survive. And when these three things are gone, the body will decay. But this body is still there. There are some other bodies also like that. I remember in Sri Lanka there was a monk who took a medicine to live like 100,000 years. Yeah, they made the medicine, and it is said with that they can live longer. And then after that medicine, there was another supplementary medicine that he was supposed to take. And when he take the first medicine, he gave the other medicine to his disciple to feed him. But unfortunately, that was spilled, and he could not gain consciousness. So he was like not dying, no, no, not coming back to life. It is said. So it is said his body is still there. So um, the body still has the nails and the body hair and yeah, things like that. So when the Portuguese invaded Sri Lanka, they took that body away. It is said it was taken to Goa, and it is said it was taken to Malaysia. I have actually visited that one place in Malacca. So people say that body was there too, and somehow. So like the bodies of the mummies, they also had certain ways to preserve the body, and maybe due to some karmic effort, like things like that can happen. Buddhas with short life, okay, like Gautama Buddha, he had a short life. It is said his body will be scattered. The relics will be scattered all throughout. But the Buddhas with long life, it is said their body will not be scattered like that. It will be solid. So there are stories like that.
Okay, then for that monk who was still standing and smile, so would you say his vijnana already left his body or still stay with his body?
I personally think his vijnana must have left definitely. But maybe due to some karmic, thing, his body still survive. Maybe definitely his, but we can say for sure what really is the cause. I also see there is a tribe in Indonesia. Have you seen a tribe in Indonesia? They decorate the dead bodies, and they take the dead body out, and once a year or something, they decorate that dead body. They don't care. Like sometimes the skeleton, everything. They don't care. They really don't have any fear for them. Uh, uh,
I was just thinking about because he was the monk, he must have done a lot of meditation practice. And when he was able to keep his body standing and smiled, and there must be something different from those people they do not meditate. And scientifically, if the body when the body decays, it because it's oxidized, right? With the oxygen and bacteria will go. So for those monks, then their body doesn't doesn't have their bodies do not have a bacteria stuff.
can be. I may be like inexplicable, cannot define everything with the science. Um, Very difficult to explain those things with the limited knowledge that we have with the science. Looks like the science is perfect, but it's not. So many things in the science to improve. They they have improved many things, but it is still the universe is so wide, and the knowledge is so vast. I don't think they are anywhere close to the knowledge or the wisdom of an arahant, right? And the practitioners can have, like the people who practice meditation can have much more deeper wisdom than we ever know or imagine.
And then one more question is, I was thinking about those people who die in their 30s or 40s or 50s, their mind and body still are very healthy versus to those they die in the age of 80, 90, they already developed the Alzheimer disease. So would that make a difference where their next rebirths will be at?
It depends on how you die. Like you die with an accident, due to some accident, that's definitely something not really helpful, right? And if you die as a peaceful person, uh, or if you die naturally, that's a different thing. But when you die due to some accident, or maybe somebody murdered, or some sickness, or then it's a different thing. And even with the natural death, you don't know how that last chuti chitta affect you. Like Queen Malika had, you know. And one time, I think last time I said about Dhammika, Upasaka Dhammika. He was in his deathbed, and the monks came to chant for him. And then on the way, he also saw the heavenly chariots coming, and he was waving at them and asking them to stop. And the monks thought he asked the monks to stop. So the monks stopped the chanting and went back to the temple. The Buddha asked, "Why did you come earlier?" Buddha already knew the story though. And he said, he asked us to stop, so we came back. And then the Buddha said, it was not to you that he asked to stop, it was to those heavenly charioteers, they were asking them to, he was asking them to stop until he listened to the chanting. So things like that can happen. Like at the end, very important, uh, the life ends in a peaceful manner. So it is said the one who practices meditation, especially the anapanasati, and the arahantas, they can even feel the last breath. Okay, this is my final breath. This is the last one. This is the exhale. I'm done. They can even feel that, sense that. That is the kind of um, knowledge and awareness and such um, peaceful ending to their life that can happen to them. So the more we practice, the better we become, the better we face our life ending. It's very important to maintain that inner peace. And I want to talk more about that uh, when we talk about the karma after lunch for me. And yes, we will discuss about that. I actually have also shared the um, this, and you see glossaries. Here I have Abhidhamma class, and over here glossaries, chapter 5, all the glossaries are here, and this is the number of words that we learned: samatha, vipassana, bhumi, patisandhi, kamma, maranupatti, apaya bhumi, kama sugati bhumi, kamavachara, rupavachara, arupavachara, naraka, tirachana, peta, asura, manusa, chatum maharajika, tavatinsa, yama, tusita, nimmana rati, paranimita vasavati, brahma parisajya, brahma purohita, mahabrahma, parittabha, appamanabha, abhasara, paritta subha, appamana subha, subha kinhaka, vehaphala, asanya satta, suddhavasa, aviha, atappa, sudasa, sudasi, akanithaka, akasananchayatana, viññananchayatana, akinchanyayatana, and neva sanyana sanyayatana. So these are all the devas and the brahmas and all the worlds that we learn today, and you can practice that. And although you don't remember all of them, it is okay, at least, because I think why we remember all of them, because we chant Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. I learned it by heart. So actually it is not that difficult for us, and also we keep repeating, so it's uh, easier for us to remember. And at least for you, if you know this is the hierarchy, these are the number of, some overall idea would be good enough for you. But if you are more interested in, always you are welcome to learn more. And in the second here, celestial day, so I just gave a little bit of lifespan here. One celestial day, 50 human years. Brahma Parisajya, 1/3 of an year. Brahma Purohita, half an year. So Mahabrahma, 1 year. So their lifespan I just included. So at least maybe you can have when you keep practicing this one, maybe it will help you to remember at least some. I know it is a lot of information, and that is why I actually created this. Hopefully that will help you. And in the third, I actually have the list for the afternoon class. So this will also help us. Janaka, Upathambaka, Upapilaka, Upaghataka, Garuka, Asana, Achinna, Katatta, Ditta Dhamma Vedaniya, Upapajya Vedaniya, Aparapariya Vedaniya, Ahosi, Akusala, Kamavachara Kusala, Rupavachara Kusala, Arupavachara Kusala, Kaya Kamma, Vachi Kamma, Mano Kamma, Panatipata, Adinnadana, Kamesu Michachara, Musavada, Pisunavacha, Parusavacha, Sampapalapa, Abhicha, Vyapada, Michaditti, Dana Sila Bhavana, Apachayana, Veyavacha, Pattidana, Pattanumodana, Dhammasavana, Dhammadesana, and Dittiju Kamma. So these are the other technical terms, lot of words. Sorry if I made you scared. Yeah, just try to give you as much information as possible, and hope you can also practice them. And maybe after lunch we will learn about the kamma, and then maybe a little bit of practice with the question. Okay. We have a couple of minutes if you need to ask anything more. Dr. Brett, do you have anything to add?
This is beautiful teachings. I think they just remind us there's so much mystery surrounding us all the time on so many scales that we should just keep open to that, and kind of the importance of our hearts and our intentions in our lives. That's kind of where it lands for me. But just mostly I want to say it's beautiful teachings. Thank you.
Thank you. And I also want to say, actually, in the chat, we can save the chat, right? So it's, I think if you click on the 3 dots, save chat, you can save that. That will be useful maybe for me. Yes, I will definitely have a look later on. And if we have no other question, we'll see you after a few hours, and take some rest. And thank you so much for joining us again, and looking forward to seeing you again. Thank you. And I will conclude this with a short chanting. Sabbithiyo vivajjantu sabbarogo vinassato mate bhavattu antarayo sukhi digayuko bhava Bhavatu sabba mangalang rakkhantu sabba devata sabba buddhanubhavena sada sotti bhavantu te. Bhavatu sabba mangalang rakkhantu sabba devata sabba dhammanubhavena sada sotti bhavantu te. Bhavatu sabba mangalang rakkhantu sabba devata sabba sanghanubhavena sada sotti bhavantu te. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you. Okay, see you later.
Thank you. Happy